Today's agenda for this session is importance of website security. Then what are the types of attacks which are listed in OS top 10 vulnerabilities. Then we will discuss the audit and penetration testing, reporting and certification. So if we talk the security risk, if you talk security risk, then this risk may be related to any IT application. You can say any website, web application, any mobile application, any desktop application. So these security are related to this type of IT applications. So firstly, in this session we will be covering the security risk related to website only or web application only, because it is easy to understand this security risks concepts. So we will be covering this website security risks. Then next we will be cover what are the solutions which are available to prevent this type of security threats, and what are the reporting and certification which are related to website audit process. So firstly, if we analyze what is the need of website, then we can say that with the growing dependency on technology, accessibility to any company or any business or any organization is going to be totally dependent on their digital presence. And to make their digital presence over the World Wide Web, the website is the only medium which can help us. So for any reputed organization or startup organization or any type of organization to reach their prospective clients, to reach their prospective customers, they must have their website, right? Because whenever we want to search for any company or any organization, what we will do, we will just go to the Google and we will search it. If the website exists, we will get each and every information about that organization. If we categorize the type of websites, then we can say we can categorize the websites in following types: online shopping and or e-commerce websites like Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, right? So these are covered under online. These websites are covered under this category. The second type of website which we use are portals. That is email portal, search engine, your Google or Bing or Yahoo search engine, your chat system, your news website, right? So these type of websites are categorized under the website portals. Then we can have social media websites like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, right? And the fourth one is educational and academic websites, under which category we fall. Under this category we fall because we are a academic organization or educational organization. So our websites falls under this category. And then last is online banking. So these all type of websites which are available throughout the World Wide Web, right? The second agenda is to analyze the need of security. Why our website need to be secure? So if we analyze the need, then we can say an insecure website is very harmful for the company image. As soon as company's website got compromised, it may cause the damages to their reputation, right, in view of their clients or their customers, and these damages are irreparable. How it is irreparable? I am going to prove it. Why it is irreparable? Because mostly clients or customers search about the organization or their website on the Google or other search engine, right? So whenever a website got compromised, these search engine like Google or Bing, this search engine mark this website as a blacklist, right? There is a blacklist websites, list of blacklisted websites, and as soon as your website got compromised or your Google analyzes your website as an insecure website, it will place your website into the blacklist. right? And after putting the website into blacklist, no prospective customer will be able to search for that website in the Google, right? So when we will search about any company on Google, it will not show the details about that company, and this is a huge loss of company businesses and can lead a loss of prospective customer. So it becomes very important for any business organization or business owners to keep their website secure. If a hacker gains access, if any hacker gains access to the website, they can also have access of that server, and after that they can get valuable personal user information, financial information, or even they can get a place to distribute spam, viruses and malware, right? So to prevent this type of threats, the website security is very, very important, right? Apart from this, there are few more reasons, right, which tells us why website security is so important. So if we discuss these reasons, so first reason is website hacking is very common, right? Actually, small businesses owners think that a hacker won't waste their time hacking their small businesses, right? But it's totally wrong. Suppose I am having a startup company, I have just started my website 2 days back, and I'm thinking that no hackers will be interested to hack my website. So this is my, you can say, myth, right? So this is not true, because any hacker, if they get access to any website, either it is a small business website or a very reputed organization, they will hack the website, right? So it is not always true that hackers will try to attack or gain access to the website of only a reputable organization, right? They can hack any organization, any website they can hack. They hack the website very randomly, right, or very commonly. So website hacking is also very random, right? Loss of reputation and credibility, right? Smart business owners very well know that they get very few chances to make a good impression or to build a strong reputation, right? If a customer visits their website and get contracted with the viruses or malware in their devices, he will surely not be revisiting your website anytime very soon, right? So once a customer get virus or malware in their device, in their laptop, suppose I am surfing a website, and after surfing that website a malware or virus get downloaded in my laptop, so definitely in future I am not going to visit that website, right? Also there are chances that customer may never reach your website, because nowadays the browsers we are using are very smart browsers, right? Like latest Chrome browser or Mozilla Firefox, right? These are the smart browser, right? And once a website get compromised or hacked, these browser get their signature of these websites and mark them as an unsafe website. You might have seen while visiting any website, it is oftenly browser are oftenly showing a message that this website is insecure, still you want to proceed. So if you get this type of message on your browser, it means this site is hacked in past, right? Or this site may be having some malware, right? So once the browser is going to tell the user that this website may be harmful, if still you want to proceed, you can click here. Then definitely a normal common user will not click on that URL or not will visit that URL, right? So again, it is very, very dangerous for e-commerce websites like Amazon or Flipkart, because their total business depends upon the online customer or online transactions, right? And if someone open the Amazon website and it is browser is showing that this website is maybe harmful, then definitely customer will not open that website next time, right? So now you can analyze that how much risky it is, how much necessary to have the website security, right? And as we know, most of the clients, customer find the business products through online or Google search engine only, right? So website owners should maintain or improve their relationship with this search engine, right? So a technique you might have heard about, that search engine optimization technique, SEO. SEO is a technique by using which the business owners make their website appears in the Google search engine in the top rank, right? So by using SEO technique, we can increase the ranking of our website in the Google search, right? But once our website got hacked or got infected, definitely our search engine not going to list them in their search box, right? Or search results, right? So it is very, very important to have a faithful or trusty relation with this search engine, right? So I have already told that these search engine are very smart search engine, and they will blacklist all the websites. So removing from the blacklist tag is very, very difficult, right? So I will show you a study. A study shows that a study which is conducted by this Symantec website. Symantec is an organization which makes the Norton antivirus, right? So in their study, they found that more than 75% websites which are scanned contain unpatched vulnerabilities or malware, right? And these websites, in these websites, more than 30% websites are already hacked. Out of total websites available throughout the World Wide Web, 75% are vulnerable, and out of them 35% websites are already been hacked, and more than 50,000 phishing websites are there, and more than 20,000 websites which are having different types of malware. So due to this type of risks, right, 95, more than 95% of original traffic this website lost, right? So if any e-commerce website lost their 95% original traffic, then you can imagine that how much it is going to be impact their businesses, right? And moreover, the recovering from this blacklist tag is very, very difficult, right? Because every week Google blacklist more than 20,000 websites due to malware and phishing websites, right? Once a website got blacklisted, it might be possible that Google is going to blacklist entire server, right, on which this web application is running. So if you have any idea how the website hosting is being done, so in shared hosting there is a single server, and in that server multiple websites are running, right? So if any of that website got hacked, it might possible that Google will blacklist entire server, right, or entire applications running on that server. So due to this, all the application will get blacklisted, and once the website got blacklisted, the website owner has to approach this search engine with appropriate documentation, proof of concepts to get into the whitelist, and it is not always very much easy, right? They have to submit one by one for each and every applications running on that server. They have to submit the report to the search engine that my website is now secure, this application is secure. They again analyzes your servers, their applications for security risks, and if any of the applications running on that server are vulnerable, they are not going to put you in the whitelist, right? So they have to submit this report individually for each application. So it is a very daunting and challenging task to get the website out from the blacklist, right? So this is a recent data. It is showing that more than 21,000 websites are hacked during this 7 or 8 month period. You must be aware about an organization called CERT-In. This is a computer emergency response team for India. CERT is basically an organization throughout the world, right? CERT exists throughout the world. For each company there is a CERT. For India it is cert in, for Pakistan it is cert PK, for UK is cert UK, right? So cert is responsible for listing or identifying this type of events, hacking events, right? So cert has released the this data that in 2016 more than 33,000 Indian websites are got hacked. In 17 the count was 30,000, and in 2018 1700, and it may increases or decreases every year, right? So to protect this type of threats from the hackers, you must get your website secure and secure, right? So now we are going to these are the introduction and reason why we need website security. Now you are very much aware that why our website need to be secure, right? So now I'm going to show you what are the security risks which are available with our website, and we will also have some demonstration of this type of security risk one by one, right? So if you talk about security risks, I have listed here I have listed here the few high risk web applications vulnerabilities, right? And it contains SQL injection, type scripting, sensitive data exposure, malicious file upload, security misconfiguration. So these are some technical name, you can say name of the security risks. So my aim is to make you familiar about this type of attacks, and in coming 4 days we are going to have a complete hands-on about this type of attacks, security attacks. We will guide you how to set up the labs, how to set up the lab, how to set up the applications, and I will also provide you the commands, injections, how to hack a website. So in these 4 days my complete focus is to make you comfortable and to make you completely aware about these security risks and how to prevent these security risks, right? So I'm going to discuss one by one. The first website vulnerability which present in our website is SQL injection, right? How it will work, I will also demonstrate. So what is SQL injection? It is a vulnerability that allow an attackers to alter backend SQL statement by manipulating the user input. So you must be aware about two types of website, static and dynamic, right? Because that is why I have in the Google form, in the registration form itself, I have asked from you that you are aware about networking, website concept, software installation. Because if someone is from core electrical background or mechanical or civil background, definitely they are not going to understand this what is this SQL, right? That is why I have filtered all those participants. Out of 1200, I have filtered only 350 participants. I have filtered all of them, right? So I am hoping that you must be aware about what is SQL, right? So there are two types of websites commonly we use. One is static website and dynamic website. The static website is having only static pages. There is no backend, there is no database connected with that website, right? And content of that web page is not going to be changed, right? But in dynamic website, the data which are being displayed on web pages are pulling from the database. That is there is a backend or database which is connected with our front end website, and whatever the data we are getting from the website, they all are coming from the backend, and we can also change the content of that data. That web page. Like suppose you are browsing your college website, right? Suppose your college website is a static website, and there is a page called director message, right, or HOD message or principal message. Definitely that page is not going to be changed again and again. It will only change once when your director changes or your principal changes, right? So you can tell that that page is a static page. But suppose if you are browsing a Flipkart website or Amazon website, so if you search for mobile phone, then that Amazon website will show you only the mobile list of mobile devices or list of brand available. If you search for goggles, then it will show you the different brands of goggles, clothing. So based on the user input, if the data is changing, then this website is called dynamic website. And if a website is dynamic website, then definitely it is having a backend or database, and to interact with the database, your application must use SQL queries, right? So SQL is nothing but your structured file languages. These languages are used to push and pull the data from database to web page and web page to database. So suppose you are browsing a website where there is a login page, right? And only authorized user can log into that website, right? So there is a login page and you have to enter user ID and password to enter to the secured pages. In that case, if you are not a authorized user, it will not allow you to enter to the secured page, right? So to enter to the secure page, you have to enter the username and password, right? And once you submit the login button after entering your username and password, what it will do, the username and password you have submitted will be taken to the web databases running at the web server, and these inputs are being taken by the SQL queries, and these queries are take your user input to the database, run this query in the servers only, and if the server responds with the correct credentials, they will allow you to enter to the secured page. So what hacker will do, because hacker do not know the correct username password, what they will do, they will enter some injection code in the place of username and password, right? And then they will submit. What will happen after entering this injection code, the SQL statement which is running in the backend will get altered, right? And it will become a such type of SQL query which will always return true value, right? And due to this true value, the hacker will be allowed to access that secured page. I am going to demonstrate it how it will work, but first of all I am just making you aware how it works, right? So when SQL injection will occur, it will occur when the user input, whatever the input user is giving, if the developer or website designer has directly placed that user input into SQL query, then this SQL injection may occur there, right? So before putting this user input data to the SQL query, there are some certain mechanisms which need to be followed. If developer is not aware about this SQL injection, how to prevent this SQL injection, what they will do, they will directly place the username and password entered by the user into SQL query, and that SQL query will run on the server. And if this query contain injection, definitely server is going to return as a true credential or true value, right? So how it will work, I can show you. Suppose this is a flow chart I have drawn. I am also going to demonstrate you. So suppose there is a legitimate user. This girl is a legitimate user, and she want to access her profile or her biodata or her account hosted on this web server, right? So what she will do, she will enter username and password. Then this web server will check with the database server, right? Through SQL query. So this web application running on this web server will take the user input from this girl, take this user input through the SQL query, and this SQL query will run on the database server, and it will, if the credentials are true, it will return the secured page to this girl. But in case of hacker, what hacker will do? So hacker will send a malicious code or injection code to the website page, login page, and this injection code will alter the SQL statement, and once this SQL statement will run on the web server is going to provide the access of secured page to this hacker. So now the hacker can access profile of anyone, that he can access the admin profile, he can access the, suppose you are having a institute ERP. So if hackers gain access, he can access accounts of faculty, accounts of a student, he can alter marks of a student, he can also change the appraisal form, he can change the appraisal marks, right? Anything he can do, right? So how this SQL injection works, to show you, I have just made a dummy page, right? So I have made this dummy page. I am going to launch this page. I made some login control here, username and password. Once user will enter correct username and password, he will be redirected to the secured page. Otherwise, he will not be allowed to enter the secured page. So just let me demonstrate you how it will work. Now I am going to demonstrate how to how this SQL injection works. So I have started my web server. You can able to see this. This is a web server I have hosted on my website. So tomorrow I will also today I will also give you some instruction to set your lab, and if you found I have stated each and every steps how to set your lab on your system, and in tomorrow's session, in first 15 minutes, I will also demonstrate how to configure your labs on your laptop, so that you can able to perform this type of security attacks on your laptop only. So now this screen is visible. You can see here, this website is running on my local server. You can see here local host. It is written there local host. If it was a live website, then definitely I will have some domain name here, www.natrr.csc.ac. In this type of website, if this type of domain exists here, it means this is a public website. And if you are seeing that local host, then it is a local website running on my local desktop or local server, right? So I have hosted this website on my local server. So now I am going to show you, this is a login page, and once the authenticated user, suppose I am writing here admin, and I am writing here the password is ABCD1234, right? So if I will log in, it will take me to this page, feedback page. Suppose I am a website administrator, and by logging to that page, I am able to see the feedback which are provided by my clients or my customers, right? And if I am not having a correct username password, suppose I am writing either ABCD or anything, suppose I am not knowing to the password, in that case, if I will submit, it will show that authentication failed. Please enter the correct username password. So I will also show you what is the correct username password. So I am going to show you the database which I have created. It is a dynamic website, because whatever the data I am entering, the data which are being displayed on this website are totally depend upon the input which I have provided, right? So I have created a database. Now I hope this screen is visible to all of you. This is the database portal. Yes. So this is database portal, and I am accessing my database using this very beautiful application called PHP MyAdmin, right? So this is a free application which comes with the XAMPP server, right? I will give you the steps how to configure this XAMPP server on your system, right? So I am just accessing my databases which are available in my server. So you can see here there is a database called audit, right? The database name is audit, and it has two tables, feedback and login. In login table, you can see there is a two users, admin and Amrendra, right? Username is admin and password is ABCD1234. Again for Amrendra, the password is ABCD1234. So if I will use any of these two credentials, definitely it will allow me to enter to the secured page. Suppose I am going to access by Amrendra and password is ABCD1234. Again, it is allowing me to the secured page. But if I am not a legitimate user, I am hacker. Suppose I am a hacker, want to access this secured page. So I have guessed, anyhow I have guessed the username should contain admin, because most of the time the website owners keep their username as admin. So if the hacker will guess that username may be admin and password he is not knowing, so whatever the password if he is writing, it is not allowing him to enter the secured page. So what hacker will do, hacker will have another, you can say, instrument, or you can say injection code through which he or she can enter to website. So what is this injection code? I am going to show you. This injection code is this. I hope this notepad is visible to all of you, so you may also note down. This is the injection code, right, using which a hacker can perform the SQL injection, right. So what it is showing? It is showing 1 single quote or single quote 1 equal to 1. So this is a injection code hacker will use. What hacker will do? He will just guess the username, right? He will enter the password as this one, 1 equal to 1. You are able to see this, 1 equal to 1. So by entering this 1 equal to 1, you can see that now website is allowing me to enter to the secured page. That is, your website got hacked. Your website is not safe from SQL injection. That is why hacker has entered to the secured page, right? So anywhere, suppose on your ERP or any website, if there is a login page, and if you have not taken care about this SQL injection attack in your website, then your website will be vulnerable to this SQL injection. What hacker will do? He will just guess username admin and password he will enter 1 equal to 1, right, and he will log in. So it is not preventing him to enter to the correct or secured page. So this is how this SQL injection may occur. So apart from this, there are a list of other injection code or commands through which this SQL injection will be performed. So in the coming lectures, I will be showing you some different type of SQL commands, SQL injection code. There is a list of SQL injection code, right, which are very harmful. It is not only limited to the accessing the secured page. Even the hacker can get the complete information about your database, your structure. He can do anything with your complete your server, right? So in the coming days, I will be demonstrating you different type of SQL injection command, and you will see how much dangerous it is, right? Right. So with this SQL injection, hackers can perform any type of attack on your website. He can delete, he can alter, he can do anything with your database, right? So just to demonstrate you, I have just shown you this a small demonstration, right? So how it is working, just I am going to show you. So when user is supplying here username and password, so what developer is doing, he will be putting this username and password entered by user into some SQL query. And how this SQL query will look like? Suppose select star from login table where user name is equal to whatever the data provided by user and password equal to whatever the data provided by user, entered by user. So this query will be running in the backend, right? So what will happen when you will write this injection code in the place of this username and password, right? Suppose I have entered here admin. I have entered here admin. So here admin will be posted, username is equal to admin. Whatever the data you will enter here, it will be reflected in the SQL statement. And in place of password, what I am entering? I am entering this, right? This SQL injection I injected code I am placing in the password field. Now you can see this first single quote is completing your query, right? This first single quote will complete your query only here, right? And your query is searching for database, searching in the database that select all data from login table where username is equal to admin and password is equal to 1. Definitely password is not 1 because password is available in the database is ABCD1234. So this query will return false. As soon as this part will return false, this OR part will be executed. And this OR, when this OR part executed, what will it will execute? 1 equal to 1, and it is universal true. 1 is always equal to 1. That's why this query is returning true value for every user which is entering by using this 1 equal to 1. So there might be a question in your mind, sir, if a hacker is not able to guess the username, then what he will do? Very simple. He will enter this SQL injection in the username field and password also username field. In that way, he will also able to log in. By entering this, what he will do? He has just completed the query here only, and this part is not going to be executed, right? So it is showing that it is the query is executing that username is equal to 1, or if not, so rest of the query will not be executed. Only 1 equal to 1 will be executed, and definitely this is going to be returned as a true value. So in this way, I will in my last lecture when I will teach you what are the safeguard techniques, how to prevent this type of attack. I will elaborate each and every steps how to prevent. I will also show you this SQL query. Whatever the query I am running on my backend server, I will make just a small change in my SQL query, and my website will become preventive of this SQL injection. My website will be safe. After changing just a few characters in my code, in my SQL query, I will be able to prevent this type of attack, right? So that I will demonstrate you in the last lecture. So I again request participants, please do not ask the prevention techniques. Whatever the hacking techniques I will be demonstrating in coming 3 lectures, In last lecture, for all this type of attacks, I will show you the countermeasures and what are the safeguard techniques, right? So presently in the coming 3 lectures, we will only learn how to hack, what are the different attacks, and how to get benefit of this attack, and how to compromise this type of vulnerabilities available in the websites or servers, right? So thank you, sir. So next attack which I want to show you, this is SQL injection. So in this slide I have shown you some applications which are freely available for practice, right? For beginners or learners. These are some websites or some of the web frameworks which are being used by the learners to practice this type of attack. Because I have already told you that if you perform this type of query on any website, any public website, even though suppose you are performing this type of attack on your college website, and if your college website administrator captures your data, because most of the secure website, if the smart developers make their login trail, and login trail they will capture each and every details of the users which are accessing their website. And if you perform this type of security attacks on your any public website, and if they capture your record, if your IP address or your location, definitely they are going to penalize you, right? And under different sections you will be penalized. So I again request you to not perform this type of attack on any public website. For practicing, I will be demonstrating a lab setup, complete lab setup tomorrow, and also I give a link or installation guide today only in the evening. So you all are requested to set up your lab on your laptop, and if some people are getting any doubts, they can ask tomorrow. But what I want before coming to the tomorrow lectures, you all who are really interested in, they must have this framework installed. So I am going to cover this DBWA framework, first one. There are many other frameworks which can be used for practice. I will be discussing about DDWA. It is very easy to easy to configure and easy to learn. Then next is a VWAP. These are the applications, or you can say complete websites, which are freely available on the net. You have to just download this website and you have to host this website on your local laptop. And after hosting these applications, you will be able to perform any type of attack. Some public websites are also available, like this Altro Mutual. This website is developed by IBM Corporation, and they have developed this portal only for testing, only for learners, right? This is a public website. Though it is a public website, but you will not be convicted by manipulating this website, because they have launched this website for this purpose only, right? So you can search for Google Altro Mutual, right? I will show you this Altro Mutual website. So this is a website of Altro Mutual. It is a public website, but you can perform SQL injection here only, right? You can perform SQL injection. So different type of SQL injection may occur. Suppose I am going to perform this type of SQL injection. It is also a type of SQL injection. I am going to demonstrate it in the coming lectures. Not only single quote 1 equal to 1, because that was the easiest SQL injection, which is very easy to understand. That is why I have demonstrated. There are several other injection code. So this is also injection code. By using this, I can able to log into their admin page. So it is a public website, but they are not going to convict me, because they have made this website for learners only, right? So I have given the complete list of this type of website. So moving forward, next attack is cross-site scripting. It is also very high risk or very dangerous attack, right? Like SQL injection. As its name saying, cross-site scripting. You must be aware about the scripting. There are two types of scripts. One is client side and other is server side script, right? So server side scripts are nothing but your programming languages in which the website are being developed, like PHP, JSP, ASP, right? And client side, you will have the JavaScript. JavaScript is a client side scripting language, and by default it is supported by almost all browsers, because to beautify the web pages, to add some additional functionality to the web pages, developers oftenly uses the features of JavaScript. Almost 100%, almost all 100% websites must be using JavaScript on their portal, right? So, and JavaScript is a client-side scripting language. So, almost all type of web browser like Chrome, Mozilla, your Internet Explorer, every browser support this JavaScript, right? If you disable, user have the rights to enable or disable the JavaScript, right? But if you disable the JavaScript on your browser, then many features of the surfing website will not work, right? So it is always necessary to run the JavaScript in our browser, right? So what will happen, because it is a very necessary scripting language, and almost all website user must enable the JavaScript in their browser. So hackers are going to take advantage of this JavaScript, right? And they made this type of attacks. This is called cross-site scripting. So in cross-site means it will work across the platform. Cross-site means any platform. If your website is made up of ASP.NET, then again it will work. If your website is made up of Java or JSP website, then again it will work. If your website is made up of PHP, again it will work. So it is a cross platform. Whatever the scripting language you are using on the backend, it is not at all related, right? It will work for all, right? So this attack will work on every type of platform. And how it will work? Because attacker is going to take advantage of JavaScript, right? They will upload, post, or any malicious content they can post through this JavaScript, right? So, sir, I will give a few 15-minute break after this once this my slides over. So in that during that session you will please raise your hand. So all the participants requested to not raise your hand. I will give 10-minute break in between my lectures to answer your queries, right? So please be patient. So let me complete first. So because browsers cannot know that the script should be trusted or not, because JavaScript should be allowed in all the browsers, right? So if a JavaScript is running, so our browser is not known whether this script is trusted or not. And what attackers will do? Attackers will use this JavaScript as their weapon. They use this JavaScript as a weapon to hack the system, right? So hacker will insert some JavaScript or use some alternate version of JavaScript to perform this type of attack. So there are two types of cross-site scripting. First is traditional or reflected XSS, and second is stored XSS. So one by one I am explaining it. In reflected XSS, what attacker will do? They are not going to alter your database, right? That's why it is called reflected only, right? So in reflected attack, they are not going to alter your database or data available in your database, right? What they will do? They will just generate a malicious URL, right? Suppose you are going to check your balance in onlinesbi.co.in, right? So you have searched on Google onlinesbi.co.in, right? So it will display the online SBI website, right? So what attacker will do? Attacker will append some JavaScript after this onlinesbi.co.in, right? So domain will be same, that www.onlinesbi.com. Domain will be same, but after this domain there is some characters. Always there are some characters, and most of the users are not going to read the characters written after this domain. Many times you will see like this. Just let me write. Many times you will see like this www.sbionline.co.in or .com, right? So most of the time we are also only going to see this domain only, right? And after that whatever will be the written, we are not going to consider, right? Most of the time we do like that only, right? So hacker will do what? Hacker will append some JavaScript or some malicious code here, right? And they will anyhow they will try to give you this URL, and if you receive this URL from any, suppose in any mode, by any mode hackers are able to send you this URL to you, right? And once you will click on this URL, you will be redirected to a website which will be having same look and feel of SBI Online, same look and feel, right? And when you will click on that or when you will enter your username and password, that username and password will be stored by the hacker, right? So what will happen? www.sbi.online.co.in is a true domain. It is a valid domain owned by SBI Bank, right? So what hacker will do? They will append here some JavaScript. So whenever you will see this link and you will open sbionline.co.in, due to this appended JavaScript, automatically you will be redirected to the different website, because definitely no one can own this domain. You are very well known about this. Once the SBI Online is owned by SBI Bank, me or you cannot own this domain, right? If I want to purchase any domain related to this, the domain service provider will not give this domain to anyone, right? So what hacker will do? He will try to redirect you from this domain to the his domain, right? So to redirect you from this domain to his domain, what he will do? He will just write here a script. He will just write here a script, right? And in this script, he will just use some functions like window.url. So this type of functions, by using this type of function, when you will click by seeing this domain, you will see, okay, this is SBI online domain, and I will click here. Once, as soon as you will click here, due to this JavaScript, you will be redirected to the different page or different domain, and that domain will have same look and feel as SBI website, right? And you will definitely, you are not going to see again the address bar about the domain name. And what will happen? As soon as you will enter your username and password, hacker will get your username and password. This is called reflected. I will also demonstrate it in the coming lectures, how this reflected SSS will work. So in first stage, what attacker will do? It will send an malicious email, right? Victim will click on the email, right? And this email may contain some JavaScript. You can say here bank.com, and here is a JavaScript written here. Scripting tag is here, right? So once the user will click, it will be redirected to vulnerable bank site, and this bank site will be hosted by the hacker only, right? And it will have same look and feel as SBI online banking page. Right? It is very easy to have same look and feel website, right? I can create same website as looking at SBI online in just 1 minute. It is very 1 minute job to create same look and feel page like the SBI online banking is having, right? So it is not a big task, right? So once he will enter the username and password, attacker will have full access to your account. So this is called reflected XSS. In this type of attack, there is no database will be altered, but attacker will take advantage of this JavaScript. In a stored XSS, it is very dangerous, because in this attack, hacker will have access to your database and he can alter your database. What he will do, suppose in your website or in your web portal, you have made some text box to enter feedback or comments, right? Like suppose you open your Facebook page, and in your profile you will get a text box to where it is written that please type your today's idea or wish your friend as a happy birthday. So each and every profile will having a text box, right, where we can post our event or we can post our ideas. So in that text box, if hacker is able to insert any script, then what will be happen? Because whatever the post or comments we are writing on Facebook, each and every comments are being stored on their server. If they are not storing that feedback or that comments in their server, after today I will not be able to see my comment, because it is being stored in the database server. That is why I am able to see my comments which I have posted 2 years back, right? 2 or 3 years back I have posted or some image or comment that is still visible on my profile. The single reason of this is because this feedback or these comments are being stored on the database server, right? So hackers will take advantage of this feature. They will insert some JavaScript vulnerable code in that area, text area or text box, and it will be stored in the database. And once it will reach to your database, now hackers can perform anything. So let me demonstrate you how it will work. How this stored XSS will work. Again, I am accessing my local site. This is my original Nitter site, Nitter Chandigarh site. I'm not going to harm this website. I do not want to get penalized. So I am owner of this. I am managing only this website, but still, it is always not recommended to access any public website, right? So now to demonstrate you this cross-site scripting, again I am accessing my local website which is running on my local web server. So here is a feedback button, right? Here is a feedback button. Here is a feedback button where I have given an option for my users to give feedback. Suppose some legitimate or valid user want to comment on my website. Suppose I have written here my name or any name, any participant name I have entered here, and I am writing here So I have just entered a valid comments or valid feedback. There is no JavaScript here. I have not entered. So once I will submit here, what will happen? It is giving the message that your feedback has been recorded successfully, right? So now let's see this feedback. Suppose who can see this feedback? Only web administrator can see. So let me log in with the web administrator. Password is ABCD1234. So now the web administrator is able to see this comment, right? Mr. Umang has posted this, and feedback was, hello dear, I can hack your website, right? So this comment was posted by this person, but this is a way of acting a valid or legitimate user. But how the hacker will act? Hacker is definitely not going to put a simple message here. So Mr. Hacker is going to put some JavaScript here, right? So let me put here some JavaScript. We have simple JavaScript which I have written. So I'm just simply writing this JavaScript. You can see here it is a simple JavaScript tag, and all of you are must aware about this. This is a JavaScript starting tag, this is closing tag, and this is a alert box, right? This is alert box. In alert box I have written, hey buddy, you have been hacked, right? Now I'm going to enter this comment. What will happen? The feedback has been recorded successfully. It means that the website developer has not properly taken care about this cross-site scripting, and that is why I am able to push this type of script on the database. Now when this administrator will log in, you can see what will happen. As soon as this administrator will log in, a pop-up message will be generated in front of him. Hey buddy, you have been hacked. So it is very annoying. Every time he will log in, this message will come. I'm going to log in again. Admin. Suppose I'm going to log in with different admin login. Every time I will log in, this pop-up will give a message that hey buddy, you have been hacked. And after seeing this message, definitely the web administrator will going to be very nervous, right? Because now he will have to find the solution for that. If he will click on OK, he will show no message here. Why? Anyone of you can guess why this message is not being displayed here? Because the message entered by the hacker is a JavaScript, and this JavaScript has been stored in this database. I can show you this database. So please have a look of the database. This is the database which have stored the database feedback given by the users. So now you can able to see here all the feedbacks are stored in my feedback database, and this script is also stored in this my database only. So every time when web administrator will log in, all these feedback will be pulled from the database and it will be displayed on my web page. But as soon as this feedback will be pulled on my web page will see this JavaScript, and my web page or web browser will assume that I have to run this JavaScript, because all the web browsers are only made to run the JavaScript, right? And until unless you block the JavaScript, each and every browser by their it is their default nature to run the JavaScript. As soon as the JavaScript is loaded on your web page, this web browser, this Mozilla web browser or Chrome web browser will definitely run this JavaScript. They are not going to display the JavaScript here, because as soon as any browser gets the JavaScript, it will run. So as soon as the browser will run this JavaScript, this pop-up message will get appeared. So the single solution of this is now that the database administrator has to delete this entry. He has to delete this entry from the database to get rid of this pop-up message. once he will delete that entry from database, now this pop-up is not coming. But assume, suppose a programmer or hacker is very smart and he has written a automatic program which will which is continuously entering this type of JavaScript, right? So we can write, it is very easy to write an automatic program to enter this feedback. Suppose I have written a program which is putting feedback on this page, 1000 feedback in 1 minute, right? In 1000 feedback I am entering in 1 minute. You can see the Tatkal booking. For Tatkal booking, many plugins are there which hits the Tatkal booking button 1000 times in 1 second, right? So suppose I have I am able to write up this type of script which is entering this type of feedback continuously. So my database will get full of this type of a script, and each and every time the database administrator has to delete that entry, right? So it is not a feasible task, right? So definitely we must have some sophisticated mechanism to prevent this excesses, right? So any type of this attacks, suppose I am also going to demonstrate one more script. Suppose I am going to load here Mr. Hacker, and I have written suppose this JavaScript and submitted. So feedback has been recorded. So once I will log in from as a web administrator. So see here what is happening. You can see that I am being redirected to some prank website, right? So every time when I will be running this login page, or every time web administrator will log in, what will happen? Every time this web administrator will log in, every time he will be redirected to this pranking website. So suppose in that case, suppose you are opening your Facebook profile page, right? And after opening your Facebook profile page, in place of your photo, some horror movie pictures is coming. So definitely this will be annoying for the website or profile owner, right? So this type of attacks can be performed. What I have done, I have redirected the URL in the stored accesses, right? So it will keep coming unless I will not delete this comment from my feedback table. So I am going to delete this. Now I think it should not come. Okay. So each time I am going to enter this type of feedback, because this feedback page or feedback website are not is not developed in proper ways after considering the security attacks. It is accepting this type of JavaScript. You can see here I have written windows.open, and I have windows.open is a JavaScript function which is used to redirect or open some new URL, and I am redirecting this page to this pranking website, right? So now you can see how much harmful this stored access is, right? So next vulnerabilities which is present oftenly in the websites is this sensitive data exposure, right? In sensitive data exposure, though it is very small vulnerability, but it is very dangerous also. Sensitive data exposure tells that suppose I am having some application and some websites, right? And I am putting all the sensitive data or information on that web server only, right? So this type of attack may occur. Suppose you are having a website, college website, and your website developer or website manager is regularly taking backup of your website, right? And these backup files are only stored in the web server. So if website administrator is not hello, please mute your mic. I think some participant has unmuted his mic. I requesting all of you, please mute your mic. So So I was explaining this sensitive data exposure, because each and every data which is available on my web server will be listed by Google. Why? How it will work? Because Google search engine works on a mechanism called crawling. This Google search engine crawler, whenever you create a new website or you just launch a new website. Suppose today I have launched my new website www.amarendra.com, right? So immediately my website will not be listed in the Google search engine, right? So once some user access my website, there are some frequently visitor of my website. Google will observe the traffic of my website, and then it will start crawling my web server, the server where my web application is running. So what this Google crawler will do, it will crawl throughout my web server, and I cannot prevent, because it is the nature of Google search engine that whatever data it will found on web server, he will make an index, right? So suppose your website is having 5 pages: home.php, about us.php, about director, about principal, contact us, faculty.php, student.php. So suppose your website has 10 pages, right? So as soon as your website is live, Google search engine, it is a nature of Google search engine, it will crawl throughout your web server, and all the pages which are available on your web server will be indexed in the Google database, right? So whenever some user, if a user will search that www.amarendra.com/aboutus.html or aboutus.php, so that page will be displayed by the Google. So it is the nature of Google crawler. It will list, it will make an indexing for whatever the data present in the web server. So what will happen? Suppose apart from our web pages, I am keeping some backup files on my server only. So Google will also index these backup files, right? And these backup files may contain password, credit card information, backup, some login information, your appraisal information, your marks, your database, anything. Whatever the data present in, because if you are using any ERP, all entire data will be stored in the database, and if the backup file of that database is present on that web server, Google will index that backup files. And what hacker will do? Hacker will take advantage of this demerits. They will directly access that backup file, and this is called sensitive data exposure. So hackers will use a command called, a technique called Google dorking technique. This Google dorking technique is nothing but it is a advanced searching technique, and hackers are well known of this Google dorking technique. So they will search of specific files on the web server. So just I am going to demonstrate you how it will work. So here I have written a Google dorking command, site.ac.in file type SQL. I am just going to search this on my Google search engine, google.com. Right. This is Google search engine. What I have written here? I have written here site.ac.in. So what I am telling to Google search engine, hey Google search engine, please search all academic website. What this syntax means? I am telling the Google search engine to search all academic ac.in. ac.in stand for academic website, right? Com means commercial website. Gov.in means government website. Org means organizational website. So academic or edu.in means educational website. So I am telling the Google that Google please search all academic websites with having file type SQL. So what will Google will return? Now you can see Google will return all the SQL file available on different web servers, and you can find this is an academic website, and here they have kept their database backup file. You can see here valuation.sql. So I am opening this backup file. So now after opening this backup file, you can say here is entire database is in my hand. I can access each and every detail. If it is a marks database, I can access the Aadhaar card, address, everything I can access. So I'm going to close it because it is also illegal, but just for demonstration. So it is not surprising if you found your college website also listed here, right? So it is not very much surprising, right? So you can find this oii.igi, it is Indira Gandhi, I think, website. They have kept their this table, so you can find a detail of title, response, edition. They have created some database. You can find each and every detail, address, their topics, their marks, everything is available here, right? So I'm not again going to show because you will complain about me. So MIT University of AC.in. So I'm not. So just my purpose is to just show you, right? So they have. So it is not surprising if you will found the username and password, right, of the faculty login or student login, anything. So most of this is Dhirubhai Ambani College, TAIIT. I'm not going to open IIT Bombay. You can see some big name also in the list. This is IIT Bombay, IIT Bombay, IIT Bombay, continuously IIT Bombay. You can see continuously IIT Bombay. IIT Bombay is in the top list. Oh my God. Completely it is showing IIT Bombay. Now what is this site? So they have also kept their SQL file here. I can search the domain from here. Who is this? So let me copy this domain. Why the site? That site is so you can find Directorate of Distance Education, Guru Jambeswar. So they have kept their complete database with us, right? Open for hackers. Then this virtual lab for IIT Bombay. Many websites you will found. So now you can understand how much risky it is to have this backup file on our server, right? So this is the one command I have shown you. There are list of this Google Dorking command, right? So I have you can find this type of command on this link. I will provide this complete PPT to you, and you can find this list of Google Dorking command on this website. So you can find many more. I have searched for only one, but you can find many more Google Dorking command here. How to use Google to hack, and it will show you the complete list of Google Dorking command. So now it is clear to all of you what is the sensitive data exposure, and this backup file may be containing your credit card. If suppose you are having your accounts on some banking portal and they have not taken care about this sensitive data exposure attack, then definitely your credit card information will get compromised, right? So next attack, moving forward, next attack is malicious file upload, right? So what is this malicious file upload? Suppose your website is having some upload facility for users. Suppose you are allowing some students to upload their assignment, to upload their photo, to upload their resume or biodata, right? Or suppose your website portal is giving faculty to upload their progress report or anything, right? So any upload button, if your website is having any upload facility to get some files from the user, hackers may use this upload facility as a weapon, and they can upload some malicious or malware files to the web server, right? So what hacker will do? They will upload some executable or arbitrary script code, and once hacker is able to upload this type of arbitrary script or code, the entire web server will be in the control of hacker, and this attack is known as last stage attack. Once the file upload is done, file upload is also popular as the name of cell upload in the hacking world. It is also known as cell upload. Cell is basically a malware code. I will also demonstrate it in the coming lecture. I will also give that malware code to you also. That cell upload is basically some malware. Malware is nothing but a program, right? So once a hacker will upload cell in your website, once the cell get uploaded, your entire website, entire web server will be under the control of hacker. He can delete any file. He can completely erase your data, your website. He can format your disk even. Once the control with the hacker, he can format any disk. He can create any temporary file. He can erase your complete website. So how it will happen? Hacker, whenever you are providing some upload facility on your website, so your developer, or yes, I will demonstrate in this lecture also. So if your website developer or website administrator has given a facility to upload, right? So they must have to filter the file type, right? So most of the time you must see that a message is written like this. You can see the message written only PDF and JPG file are allowed. And maximum size is 500 KB, right? So only writing this message is not sufficient. Suppose website developer has just put this message and he has not taken care about the file type in the development or in the programming, right? He has not filtered the file type. Then what will happen? Hacker will upload some script here or some malware code here, right? So I'm going to demonstrate you how this malicious file upload will work. Again, I'm using my local host. Suppose I am giving an option to faculty which are coming to participate in short-term courses at NITRRR. So oftenly we ask them to upload their signed and scanned sponsorship letter. So in that case, suppose I have written here only PDF and JPG file is allowed, but hacker is not going to upload a PDF or JPG file. What he will do? He will directly trying to upload some code. So if hacker will upload some genuine file, suppose he will upload some PDF file, then this portal is allowing. Okay, the sponsorship letter has been uploaded. But what in case if the hacker upload some PHP file? You can find it here. This is a PHP script. You can say here, this is a web shell. This is the malware which I am going to demonstrate in the coming lecture. This is a malware, and I will upload and play with this malware. I will also show you how to play with this shell. I can delete or format any disk. I can delete any file. I can change anything. Whatever is available in the web server, I can do. But right now I am just demonstrating you. So this you can see here, it is a PHP script. Neither it is a PDF file nor it is a JPG file. But what will happen if I upload here? It is showing that your sponsorship letter has been uploaded successfully. Now this malware is where? This malware is uploaded in the web server, right? And once this malware is uploaded on the web server, now if I am hacker, I know how to play with this malware. I can access anything on this server, right? So this is called file upload, right? So how to use this shell, that I will be demonstrating in the coming lecture, right? So this attack was known as malicious file upload. Next is security misconfiguration. This security misconfiguration is also very much dangerous and very listed in high risk vulnerability. It is termed as directory listing, right? Directory traversal is a vulnerability which allow attackers to access the restricted directory and execute the commands outside the web server directory due to some misconfiguration of web server. So how it will be performed? Let me demonstrate you. Suppose in my website, in my demo website, I have shown you that to see the feedback. To see the feedback, a web administrator must have to log in through this login page. Until unless he is not having the correct credentials, he will not be able to access the restricted page. But if directory listening is there, that is directory listening vulnerability exists in my website, exists in my web server, I do not need any username password. What I will do as an attacker, I will just go to the URL. You can see here my mouse, sorry, my cursor here. I am deleting this login.php. I have just deleted the PHP and I have reached to the directory audit. Audit is basically as a folder or directory. I am going to enter the hit button, hit the enter button, and what will happen? It is showing entire directory, entire things which is there in this audit folder. So now from there I will be able to see any feedback. So I do not need any username and password, and I have accessed all the restricted pages. I have already shown you this is a restricted page, but what hacker will do? He will just delete the URL from here. He will hit enter, and by this he will be in the restricted directory. From there he can access any of the restricted page. This is called directory listening, and this is a very dangerous, and 70 to 80% websites which are not properly configured may have this vulnerability, right? So I am going to end with this topic. So next topic is OS top 10, which I will cover tomorrow.